Our opening words this morning are the 7 principles of the Unitarian Universalist Association. Some people think we don't have any creed, and we don't, but if we did have one, this would be the closest thing to it. If you'd like to follow it along, you can see it in the very front of the hymnal. These are our 7 principles. We, the members of the Unitarian Universalist Association, covenant to affirm and promote, number 1, the inherent worth and dignity of every person. Number 2, justice, equity, and compassion in human relations. Number 3, acceptance of one another and encouragement to spiritual growth in our congregations. Number 4, a free and responsible search for truth and meaning. Number 5, the right of conscience and the use of the democratic process within our congregations and in society at large. Number 6, the goal of world community with peace, liberty, and justice for all. And finally, number 7, respect for the independent web of all existence of which we are a part. On a Sunday like this, where we ask a couple of our congregation members to talk about their beliefs, we like to reaffirm a little bit about the greater church of which we are a part. Let us be open to the silence. Let us hear the sounds in this room, the noises outside. Let us begin to hear our breath and the soft beating of our hearts. Let us feel gratitude for our lives and for our beautiful earth. As hard as life gets, as sad or lonely as we sometimes feel, let us always be warmed by the gifts of this life. Let us hold in our hearts all those known or unknown who are suffering or who are in need. May we find in ourselves the energy and knowledge to bring compassion to the world. And in this time of silence, let us listen intently for messages from within. I'm going to ask David Mitchell, a.k.a. Scarby, to come forward and read for us the sources of our Unitarian Universalist religion.
Good morning. The sources. While Unitarian Universalism is rooted in Christianity, it has evolved over the centuries to be inclusive of many sources of inspiration. Direct experience of that transcending mystery and wonder affirmed in all cultures, which moves us to a renewal of the spirit and an openness to the forces which create and uphold life. Words and deeds of prophetic men and women which challenge us to confront powers and structures of evil with justice, compassion, and transforming power of love. Wisdom from the world's religions which inspires us in our ethical and spiritual life. Jewish and Christian teachings which call us to respond to God's love by loving our neighbors as ourselves. Humanist teachings which counsel us to heed the guidance of reason and the results of science and warn us against idolatries of the mind and spirit. Spiritual teachings of earth-centered traditions which celebrate the sacred circle of life and instruct us to live in harmony with the rhythms of nature. It should be noted that the first source of your own direct experience is your own direct experience of the universe. Your spiritual journey begins where you are and who you are. You are perfect just as you are. Everything about you has been shaped by the conditions of your life experiences. Unitarian Universalism does not ask you to change who you are or what you believe to conform to experiences rooted in the past or some predetermined code. You are invited to join us just as you are, inside and out. Many people take the stand to mean that you can believe whatever you want, but this could not be any further from the truth. Most religious traditions expect you to choose one set of beliefs over the other. Often in such traditions, one is expected to ignore evidence that contradicts their beliefs. Unitarian Universalism instead provides the freedom to believe as your life experience has taught you, and the freedom and support to grow and change as your unique spiritual path.
About twice a year, maybe 3 times a year, we have a service like this. We call it This I Believe, and we invite 2 members of our congregation to speak. And this morning we're so glad to have with us Ann MacAdam and Kurt Reynolds. Ann?
Well, this I believe, I guess. I have long believed that people and the higher apes have always tended to gather together with others of their own kind. In the earliest times, when we were still more animal than human, we gathered together with the strongest to hunt for food and for safety against the horrors of the night. In these times, we prefer to gather together with people of like mind and purpose, with compatible beliefs and understandings and mutual acceptance of our differences. And the monkeys can gather wherever they like. I found my like-minded group in 1980 at the first Unitarian Universalist church in Cincinnati, Ohio, when I was designing computers for NCR in Dayton. Sort of a rescue after 25 high-stress years in the Detroit pressure cooker. I came to the Cape in 1985, retired, and more or less recovered. Joined this church immediately and caught the wave of growth with the arrival of Kim Harvey and Peter Fleck, facing the tsunami of the AIDS epidemic. During those 5 Ohio years of redefining my personal priorities and professional commitment, I had endlessly sifted through the shambles of my life's beliefs, kept the belief bits that still rang true, and stood best against my doubts and challenges, and found myself to be a humanist. Pardon me. That search and its conclusion led me to believe that there is, in the human condition, a compelling hunger to know, to understand, and to find the beliefs that we need to help us achieve a good and productive life here in this life and now, not when we can get around to it. We humans have evolved to be quite remarkable animals, logical, creative, inventive, and inspired solution seekers of tireless energy and passion. I believe that we humans can work consciously to develop the individual character that will serve us and our communities best, and can refine and practice those characteristics that will define us in our daily lives and relationships. Truth and honesty, a high moral sense, trustworthiness, gratitude, kindness, compassion, forgiveness, a love of beauty and its appreciation. As a humanist and a Unitarian, I believe in the worth and dignity of every person. I commit myself to the work of human betterment and to the necessity for us to take full responsibility for ourselves and the world we love and live in. Some of the basic elements of humanism can be found in Plato's philosophy, and it had clearly emerged, much as it is known today, in the Renaissance and the Enlightenment, with Emerson's brilliant Unitarian stimulus in the 1800s. Humanism has been evolving and growing within Unitarian congregations since at least 1916, and has continued its growth therein until today, after becoming a part of the Unitarian Universalist family in 1961. All this within the seismic cultural upheavals and conflicts of the period, and the accelerating achievements of the natural and human sciences, without sacrificing intellectual honesty or our spiritual dimension. A person who is in touch with their own spirituality often feels that there is an inner strength that keeps them centered and whole. Insofar as spirituality exists, I believe it does so when it becomes one of the better parts of a good person's life, where it has everything to do with their outgoing humanity and innermost experiences. For me, the spiritual dimension finds its substance in the natural world, in the smallest things, like the smell of a flower, or the greatest, as in walking alone through a natural cathedral of great trees in a quiet and misty woodland. Being moved by poetry or beautiful music, or the overwhelming sense of awe that we may experience in the presence of something far beyond wonderful, or just plain terrifying, as great storms, avalanches, the writhing of the earth. Are these the same sorts of experiences that led our ancestors to define, accept, and believe in a world beyond our own? For myself, I accept the smell of a rose on a hot day, great music, the sense of awe that I sometimes feel through my love of natural beauty as being fulfillment of the great gift of life. I am one with those humanists who experience awe and wonder within the magnificence of the tangible and real, and reject the stories of supernatural realms. Our story is the epic of evolution, leading to the human capacity to reason and eventually arriving at the scientific method and applying it to the search for truth. I believe in the story of life that science has provided, beginning in those first tentative risings of single cells in the primeval swamps, where one particular type of cell first divided and multiplied in their own kind and lived. I believe that we have come from that over a span of billions of years of evolution. And here I am, and here we are, and for me, that is truth enough. I believe in our life now, in all of its goodness and challenges, successes and failures, rejoicings and mournings. It is of primary importance to me that I live this life in gratitude for it, that I recognize my existence and being itself as unaccountable blessings, the gifts of grace. Each of us has transforming insights into the mystery of our lives. In such moments, we can sometimes see life clearly again as the gift, the sacred trust, and we can commit or recommit ourselves to serve justice, to love mercy, and to walk humbly together with our kind. That renewal, the affirmation, the wonder at being alive can only come to us in the present while we have time to be amazed and grateful. Our story also affirms that we human beings are an integral part of nature's story. We are not separate from the rest of the natural world. We are derived from it and are related to every other living creature. We are not dominant over nature, but it does seem clear that we could become the natural world's only competent stewards and trustees, and it is our most critical responsibility in the interests of future generations to preserve it and sustain it. Is the future of this world in human hands? There is no one else. To close on a lighter note, I guess, humanism accommodates and honors much of the best in human life that science alone cannot capture or explain. Love, loyalty, friendship, kindness, empathy, the loves of our lives, home, marriage, family, work, joy, fun. The playfulness and the fun we have in living give life much of its greatest happiness. Conflict is best resolved in laughter. Of course, life is a serious matter, if only because, as far as we know it, scientifically, we only live once. And that life is spent in the shadow of knowing that it will end, and we will die. And I believe it'll be best for me to leave you now with your beliefs and speculations rather than mine. Thank you.
Now, Kurt Reynolds, please add his musical and spoken word.
Good morning. During recent weeks and days, the changing season, the sun in my yard in Provincetown, and reflecting on my life has shed both light and dark upon the question posed to me, what do I believe? As the sun rounds itself in a changing direction, the shadows are more pronounced, seemingly more present, as if knowing that an ending is near. The bird feeders seem to tell the wind, it's time, he will be filling us up again. The little ones have learned through summer to forage for themselves, strong enough to survive their migration or their winter among us here on the Cape. I believe that we are reflected in the cycles of the seasons. I believe in survival, as well as the emerald green of a patch of lawn which appears brighter as summer goes. I believe in transformation, and I believe in joy. There are portulaca resting, harbored across one another, in a lovely still life, like boats in storage until the sea returns, and invites them to dance once again among the waves and the seals, the slow dance of a season returning. The music is pink and red and white and green, I believe. I imagine that these small flowers, these portulaca, they're struggling to remain open. They wish to stay awake. Like a sleepy child past his nap on a busy day, they resist their inevitable slumber. I believe in remaining open. I believe in slumber. I believe that the roots of trees, I prefer the soft, blurred edges of things. I believe that everything is moving and changing, and that when I resist, I only create added struggle for myself. I believe there's a kind of flow, some path we take, that when unresisted makes the passage and passages of our lives more passable. Once, as a boy, I dreamed that the green-pointed outer casings of chestnuts could literally tear the sky when they fell. I do not believe all that my dreams have to say. I love kaleidoscopes. With the turning of the thumb and the index finger, one mixes an entire multi-dimensional wheel of colored glass. I prefer the setting at the furthest turn, where the image is least clear to me, like a sunset, a blur of mysterious beauty, movement, and what is unknown. I enjoy words and their power. When words are sung, they have, I believe, a unique way of conveying themselves. As if their magic, their clarity, their vibration is already created somewhere else, already conceived, as if it's waiting for the right time to find us. I believe that people, things, love, forgiveness, animals, joy, and meaningful work, and even songs find us, sometimes when we are looking, other times when we're not. I believe that the roots of the trees at Beach Forest are all embroidered together beneath the sand, and that these stands of trees need one another as we do. When someone close to us dies, or some traumatic event shakes our lives, I believe that we come through these times best because of this inner need we have for one another. No one heals alone. I believe that our beliefs change and are reshaped with our experiences. Beliefs are different than values, which are more fundamental and less likely to undergo change. Beliefs are at their very best, flexible and fluid, when free to tumble about in the kaleidoscope of our days, changing with us, always readjusting to the flow of our becoming. I'd like to sing a song for you. It's a song I wrote some years ago and refashioned for this morning. And when I finish the song, I'm going to return to just a closing paragraph. The song is called Roads. There are roads that hug the shoreline, move along mountain streams, roads that rise with roads that fall, roads within our dreams. And for every road we travel, every twist and turn, there is something we've come to teach, and something we will learn. There are roads we walk together, roads we walk alone, roads that lead to far-off places, and roads that call us home. There are roads on which we finish. There are roads on which we start. Every road we travel is a journey of our hearts. There are roads to say. From all these roads we travel, we've the wisdom for today. There are roads where sorrow finds us, calls to us by name, hollows out the place inside, meant to hold the pain, while a new space is created by the tears that clear the way, and somehow make more of us than we were yesterday. And there are roads that lead us inside to a solitary place. This stretch of road in everyone, this tenderness, this grace, where we look for joy and innocence and the truth of what we are, for the closeness of the earth and the nearness of the stars. There are roads we walk our lifetimes through, roads just a moment long, roads on which through love we find the courage to go on, past the fear and dark of dusk and dawn, to set down what we've seen, where the road will take us to, and whom we've been. There are roads that ask us nothing, only that we'd come along, roads on which we let go and perhaps set down all that we have carried to this edge of the sea, where we ask ourselves the question, what do I believe? What do I believe? Kindness does the most good in the world, I believe. And sorrow, even the wrenching sorrows of our days, teach and friend us. When we think we're standing still, we're not. I have probably hurt myself more than anyone has ever hurt me. Shame is the most destructive and hurtful of things we do to one another, I believe. When we hold on too tightly to the past, we freeze the kaleidoscope. And from the paths and roads we travel, we discover our unique sets of beliefs. Thank you.